Jay, you saw Captain Falcon America, Brave
I
New
did.
Soldier, didn't you?
I did.
How was it?
It was a terrible film that you could literally see the reshoot, cut and paste, and things just didn't make sense. I'm going back and forth. The fighting scenes were actually, it looked like they were filmed in slow motion. It was kind of weird. And the truth is, this could have easily been a Falcon movie because he doesn't really do anything Captain America. He does everything Falcon. So all his powers have been upgraded from Wakanda, and his wings and everything is really like it's what he used mostly. He does throw the shield every now and then, but it really has zero impact. The only thing he did with the shield was stop some bullets, but he did the same thing with his Falcon wings. It's all. This could have easily been a Falcon film. There was nothing.
5 minutes of Red Hulk at the end.
If that, yeah. The Hulk isn't even. He's not even the bad guy. He just randomly shows up.
Yeah, it's not like he's the main villain throughout the movie.
He's not.
It just happens right at the end because the president. Was my guess about what this movie is yesterday? Do you remember when I went through that?
What was your guess?
About the president wants Sam to lead the Avengers or lead in a certain way, and they had a disagreement about how or why this should happen. And no,
sort of. So, All right, I'm gonna spoil it. If you don't want spoilers,
go
ahead and leave. Captain America gets called into the White House because we got a new president who's taking these pills. It's so obvious. He constantly is taking pills like every hour. Okay, cool. Captain America, or Sam, is training another guy to be the Falcon. And so they go to train with a super soldier who served his country for so many years, named Isaiah. He's an older guy, really older guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they go to the White House, and yeah, the president goes, "Hey, you want to start the Avengers? We need the Avengers." And he's like, "Well, we got to see how that works because last time, what if we disagree on something?" He goes, "No, I've changed. We need the Avengers back. Can you make the Avengers?" Like, okay. So then they all go to this meeting, and the president's talking about uranium, right? At the not uranium, the metal, that's in Wolverine's
adamantium.
Adamantium.
The adamantium that was found in the thing from Eternals.
Yeah, if you didn't watch the Eternals, you have no idea what's going on in that part. So he's talking to all the world leaders. He's like, "Hey, we're going to divide it up amongst the world, and we can all have it." Then some weird music plays, and all the soldiers that were in the room grab guns from police officers and tries to kill the president. The president gets taken to the back, and so Sam, Captain America, gets angry because his friend Isaiah gets arrested. He's like, "Isaiah, what did you do? Like, he goes, "I don't know. I lost my mind. I don't remember what happened." So then he's like, "You got to let Isaiah go. He's a hero." So then he storms into the president's office in his bunker and says,
"I'm so sick of fucking of Captain America, of Sam specifically." I guess I haven't seen the context for it, but go ahead.
Yeah, so he storms in, and the president's like, "He could stay. Let's have a talk." And he's like, "You got to let Isaiah go. Let me be the lead investigator." He goes, "Your friend tried to kill me. You're no longer Captain America. Get out of here." It's like,
"You're no Steve Rogers."
So that's the line. So he walks out, and one of the Secret Service guards like puts her hand up. It's like, "Please don't be that guy, Sam." He goes, "I am that guy." He walks out. So then he gets his little team together to the whole movie was about him helping his friend that's in jail. So yes, there's spoilers. Sorry, the whole movie. So then
the whole thing is fucking Winter Soldier again. This time with black people. That's basically what this is. Jesus.
Yes. So he's trying to do investigations back and forth. The president didn't want anything to do with it. The president's taking these pills, and then they find out, dude, it is so bad. They finally watch the videotape of the White House, and they see all the soldiers get this flashy light on their cell phone. and they're like, then they all get possessed. And they're like, "Huh, something odd is happening with those flashing lights." So then, like, some people from the White House goes, I noticed the flashing lights too. Let's work together and figure this out. It brings them all back down to the leader, the big brain guy that looks horrible. Like he's got some kind of bad infection on his brain. And
why can't they just make the leader look like the leader? Jesus.
I know, it's rough. So he's like, well,
the only characters I can see myself in.
Basically, he's killing people because he's super smart, but he's like, the president promised a pardon and I would work with him, and he lied to me. I've been in this prison forever, so now I'm going to escape and show the world how bad this president really is. And Sam's like, you got to do better. Don't do that kind of stuff. We can stop all that. So then the president, because the other world leaders almost got assassinated, they're all like, we don't want to work with America anymore. You know, we're going to get that celestial stuff ourselves. And it was mostly Japan. So the leader's trying to pin Japan versus America for this big war, right? That's what he's trying to do. He's taking control of soldiers with the flashing light on their cell phones to fire on Japan boats and all that stuff. So Sam is like the Falcon trying to stop all this. Meanwhile, the president's taking these pills. Finally, you're like, what the frick are you taking pills for? And he goes, I had a bad heart condition and I was going to die. So I went to the leader and he gave me these pills and now I can live again.
If you remember in Black Widow, they referenced General Ross at the time, like his quadruple bypass or whatever that he had.
Yeah.
I guess they did set that up early in the MCU that he had heart problems. Yeah.
Somebody said Jay's way off. Maybe I am, but this is exactly what happened in the film, at least from my perspective. So then you find out that he's been lacing those pills with gamma radiation. So the leader finally gets in the president's head and is like, hey, man, why don't you become angry? Release your anger and you could beat those Japanese people up. Like, just do it. So he almost turns into the Hulk there. And then he's like, he finally controls himself and he's like, oh, no, I'm okay. And then, you know, Captain America's like, what's going on, Mr. President? What happened here? He's like, my heart, man. I'm trying to do this for my daughter. I want to stay alive. So he goes back to the White House and the leader releases something in the media, right? Like he releases all this stuff in the media about how bad the president is. So he has a press conference and the press are getting on him. Like, oh, you're a liar and you did this. And the presser, he's like, no, I'm not. Stop. And he turns into the Red Hulk. When he turns into the Red Hulk, Captain America shows up. He starts throwing like his wing daggers that are actually sticking in him, right? He's like, it's having an effect on the Hulk. Everything else is like the same powers as the Hulk. He's throwing these daggers and they're sticking in the Hulk. So he's like, all right, I'm going to get him away from the White House and we'll see if we could stop him. So then they go to this one little place in Washington, D.C. where those beautiful
cherry blossoms.
Yeah, cherry blossoms are there and they get into a little fight. Basically, it's all the Wakanda stuff. So every time the Hulk punches him, you know,
his shit turns purple and
his
turns
wings,
into kinetic energy. And
his wings power up and he's able to punch the Hulk back. Captain America's like dying, right? So he's got his wings surrounding him while the Hulk is just pounding the crap out of the wings, just powering them up. So finally, when he powers them up, he's like, I'll stab him with one of my wings with all this power, and knocks the Hulk down and kind of knocks him out, right? That's the end. So the Hulk gets up and Captain America walks over to him and goes, I know you can kill me with one punch. He literally says that. I know you can kill me with one punch, but think about your wife. And the cherry blossoms start to fall. And the Hulk grabs the cherry blossoms in his hands and he shrinks down to the president. I'm not making this up, man. He shrinks back down to like Harrison Ford. And, you know, and that's like basically it. Then the rest of the scene is like Captain America walking around. Oh, by the way,
fucking Anthony Mackie just looks like box office is getting real low, big guy. Fucking calm his ass down.
Freaking, Bucky does make an appearance because Captain America's having a moment. He's like, I've been fighting my whole life to prove to the world that I can be somebody. And Bucky shows up. Steve gave you that shield because of you, not because of Captain America. And he walks out. So now he's like, okay, I am Captain America. So
that's the fucking problem. And I am going to be watching this depending on my download speed. I'll be watching it relatively soon. But That's the fucking problem. This whole thing's so meta. They're desperately trying to convince the audience that Sam is supposed to be Captain America.
So look.
That was what the entire plot of Falcon and the Winter Soldier was, and it still didn't work. So then they have to bring Bucky in to do it here too, which is wild.
How they worked out Juan Carlo, that whole reshoot was done.
Giancarlo.
Yeah, that whole reshoot was done in one studio. You could easily tell, and that's how they found out it was the leader, because he was looking for a buyer, and he stopped them. And they're like, "Who's your buyer?" "Oh, it's the leader. It's this guy in jail." These are the things that are stupid, right? So the leader escapes. Some people are starting to figure out it's him. So then he kills these soldiers, like with his special tool. He's like, "I could stop your heart with like, because I'm smart." He kills these soldiers, and literally the next scene, he turns himself in front of Captain America because all he wants to do is expose the president. It's like, why did you kill the soldiers? You had no business walking around killing soldiers when he's like, "I'm about to turn myself in." So he turns himself in to talk to Captain America, saying, "I'm going to expose the president." It's crazy. Anyway, that's the film. I didn't stay for the end credit scene because I heard it was boring. So I got up and left, but that's the end. The very end, he talks to the president who's in the prison cell, and he goes, I came here to visit you, Mr. President, because I see you're trying to turn over a new leaf. You turned yourself in. You're willing to take the consequences, and that's respectful. Thank you. I've got someone here that wants to see you." And then he brings his daughter in, and they have a moment. So,
Liv Tyler.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think this entire thing, I've pretty much said my piece about what I thought Captain America Brave New World was going to do at the box office. There's been so much discussion surrounding, oh, look at how this compares to Winter Soldier, numbers. And it's like, well, that was a different time. That was a different era. That was a different theatrical release environment. But we have the first box office numbers from Captain America Brave New World, and holy shit, they're exactly kind of what I expected. $12 million Thursday preview at the box office. And what's the first comparison that people go to? Oh, what do you know? Winter Soldier from 2014, when they didn't have Thursday previews starting at 2 p.m. in like 3,500 theaters around the world, right? Where does that stack up to other MCU titles? Well, it's higher than 2014's Captain America Winter Soldier, which collected $10 million in previews on its way to a $95 million opening. But finally, the mainstream media compared it to the thing they should be comparing it to, Jay. It's also under the 17.5 million previews of the last MCU title over President's Day weekend, 2023's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which made its way to a $106 million 3-day weekend and a $120 million 4-day weekend. So yes, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, that first Thursday, 17.5 million. Captain America Brave New World at 12 million. This is the only true comparison people should be talking about. This is almost one for one. The same fucking weekend, MCU release, 2 years apart. And it's set to be somewhere in the 80 to maybe $90 million range for the 3-day opening. And for that President's Day weekend, including the Monday, maybe in the 90, 95. They'll be lucky if they crack 100 million. So this thing is tracking significantly behind this movie, which finished at $460 million. The international numbers are not good either in both Asia, in parts of Asia and parts of Europe. It's the only thing it's tracking better than is the fucking Marvels in terms of MCU releases post-COVID. So it is not looking good at the box office.
The crazy thing is, I mean, I didn't really see anything woke about the film unless you consider the race swap with Captain America. It just was it was so clunky, and it just went from one place to the next, and you're just kind of like, this doesn't make sense. Why are we even here? Why did this part even happen? And then when you watch it compared to like some Winter Soldier and others, like the fighting scenes, even the CGI was so much better back then that it just I don't understand what they did to this film. It just it literally looked like the Falcon and Winter Soldier season 2 for Disney Plus. That was the best way, because it it looked like they were filming it in episodes. Because everybody, when you watch it, if you watch it, at the end of like every episode, what it seemed like in the film, everybody just walked away. You know, like when he went to Cap, and they're like, "Cap, please don't be that guy." He's like, "I am that guy," and he just walks away. And then Bucky's in there. It's like, "You've earned that shield." And when he's done talking, he just walks away. It's just like it just seemed like that's the end of like episode 4, right? That's the end of episode 5. That's the end of episode 6. And then the fighting scenes were just like so slow. You know, and for him throwing the shield is impossible without superpower. So I thought maybe he had like an ectoskeleton for him to throw the shield like he could, like Captain America. But he could have just been Falcon, honestly, because
Hey, what are you talking about, Jay? They did a whole training montage in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
He
What
does
more do
have
you
some
want?
training in here too. So which is, I mean, it's just he just jumps around and does some flips. But it's weird. Like when he's fighting John Carlo's character, he gets stabbed in the chest, right? And he gets stabbed in the side. Okay. He takes out like the knife and then re-stabs Juan Carlo right in the same spot, and he falls over. It's like, what? It just doesn't make sense.
And now you've got, I just showed that earlier, but there's a Vulture article. It says they're interviewing some people from set, and they're saying, I think everyone knew this is probably not going to be a good film.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of people that were working on this film saying the same thing that we've been hearing from the people at Marvel. Everybody knew it was not going to be good.
Yeah.
They were desperately just trying to fix it enough so it would be as mid as it possibly could be and release it. The budget's not $180 million. $180 million is probably that reshoot number. It's going to be a nightmare. And we've seen a lot of people in the mainstream in denial up until the release of this movie. And now that it's here, there's a lot of people who can't justify defending it that much. I haven't seen it. Like I said, I'll give my take on it probably this afternoon. But yeah, it doesn't sound very good.
It's just, you see all the money that they spend on the film, and then compared to like stuff of old, and it just makes you wonder, like, what are they doing, you know, with that money? Because it doesn't even look like a Marvel film from all. And I said that about Ant-Man Quantumania. I think that was one of the worst Marvel films ever. That was supposed to jumpstart the next phase, apparently. I think Ant-Man Quantumania did so much damage to like everything Marvel that they had given us before that. I hated that film. I hated what they did to the Ant-Man character. It had nothing to do with Kang. It just like everything to do with like what they did. That movie was just piled with convenience, and I hate when they do that in a film. You know, like when you're getting beat up and you all of a sudden look to the left and there's like a magic dagger that you could use to win the fight. It's just like nothing but convenience. And it's like, so there's no stakes at all. It's just like, it doesn't matter what they go through. There's something convenient that will help them magically that appeared. You know, it's like the Rise of Skywalker. They needed to look for a dagger to find the Death Star, and they just trip over it in the desert. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's so stupid that they do that. And so there's just like no stakes. So it's like it's a film filled with convenience. So I hate that. It's just it's not exciting and it's not fun.
Can't wait.